I'm joined now by Congressman Krishnamoorthi, Democrat from Illinois and a member of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
I want to get your reaction to Senator McConnell in a second, but let me start with this deadline for Don McGahn to hand over documents to House Democrats. So far, no response from McGahn. Do you believe that the House should move forward in holding McGahn in contempt of Congress?
I think that anybody who doesn't comply with subpoenas should be held in contempt. I mean, it just boils down to a question of whether or not there are any checks and balances on the president. Obviously, the president doesn't believe there are, but the American people believe there should be, and that's why we have to be allowed to investigate and act as a check and balance on the president and the executive branch.
Secretary Mnuchin did not comply with a subpoena to hand over the president's tax returns. Should he be held in contempt of Congress?
Well, there it's even more serious because he's violating a statute that otherwise would compel him to turn over a tax return. And so, yes, he should also be potentially held personally liable in this situation. You know, this is a repeat of a tactic that the Trump administration is using, which is they don't want anybody to testify. They don't want to turn over any documents. And the question is whether they're going to use this to prevent us from investigating or having oversight over any subject matter related to the Trump administration. I think it's a very dangerous precedent if we don't exercise our right to hold people in contempt if they don't answer subpoenas for information we rightfully should have.
Republicans, including Senator McConnell, as you just heard there on the Senate floor, and I believe he's still speaking, have made the case that Democrats need to move on, that the oversight is simply too much and too partisan. Does he in any way have a point? Do you believe there's a risk in this?
Well, I think right now the American people believe that the president, Donald Trump, is not a king. He's actually a president, and he's answerable to the American people and to their representatives in the U.S. Congress. And so I don't believe he has a valid point when the Trump administration is saying no to every single request for documents or to every single subpoena. I think they're on very shaky ground.
There is a vote tomorrow, as you know, to potentially hold the Attorney General, Bill Barr, in contempt of Congress. The ranking member, Doug Collins, over on that committee, has made the argument that, listen, if Democrats want to see this full unredacted Mueller report, introduce legislation that would let Congress see the grand jury material. Why not do that, as Congressman Collins argues?
Well, I think that might be a useful exercise for future, but right now we should be able to see the complete report, the unredacted report. Just as an example, in Volume 1, that's where 80% of the redactions were with regard to contacts with the Russians and the criminal conspiracy allegations. 11 out of the 14 matters that have been transferred to other jurisdictions are completely redacted. We have no idea what is going on in those proceedings that are currently investing wrongdoing connected to Donald Trump. We don't know the targets, we don't know the subject matter, and so forth. To exercise our duty of oversight, we have to have this information.
Would you vote to hold Bill Barr in contempt?
I would vote to hold him in contempt. I think that not only did he not produce the unredacted Mueller report, but he also was a no-show in the House Judiciary Committee last week. And so I think he's really thumbing his nose at the congressional branch and really at the will of the people to hold the Trump administration accountable for their actions.
Quickly before I let you go, at what point do you believe that Democrats should subpoena Robert Mueller to appear? And do you believe you're close to that point?
Well, we thought that he would be appearing on a certain date this month, at least before the Intelligence Committee and the Judiciary Committee. It appears that Donald Trump in a tweet said that he doesn't want Mueller to appear, which is completely unacceptable. So if he persists in that particular position, then we will have to subpoena Mr. Mueller.
Congressman